Hey everyone, and welcome to another Lorcana video here. So we're back at DLC Richmond in the top 16. So we have a game between Reed Holtman and Stephen Lee. So we have a nice purple steel versus dog matchup here. I thought it'd be interesting to highlight here since we've seen a lot of green, blue, and purple steel. I haven't seen any dogs yet. So anyways, if you like these videos, want to see more of just like Lorcana challenges, CCQs, things like that, chopped up like this, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be making more of them. So let's dive into the game here. All right, so starting off here, we have, what we expect to see from a purple steel player. We have a nice Captain Hook coming down, and Steven as the dog player tosses down a lady. So, nothing out of the ordinary here. Both players hit their one drops, which, obviously for the dogs player is, usually going to happen. For the purple steel player, if they miss that one drop against dogs, that feels very, very bad, especially going first. So then he chases that into a Jafar. And of course, coming into this, Reed obviously, I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure the bracket here is the seeding. So he got to go first based on seeding. You can see they both had 34 points here. So maybe like a tiebreaker or something like that here in the top 16. And, so he got to go first in this game, which obviously is a big advantage, especially in a matchup like this. And before the match, what happens in these DLCs is both players gets to review each other's deck list, like on paper. So like on the stream, if you go back and watch the full DLC stream, you can actually see both players looking at each other's list, which I think is really, really cool. Because you know exactly what to expect. As a dog player, like if you're playing against green blue, that maybe either they have under the seas. If they don't, it doesn't mean you're going to draw them, like happens to some of us, but you at least know to expect that they could come. So anyways, Reed's running this 2-cost Jafar, which gets evasive on his turn, and then so he's curving out really nicely here now with the Jafar into the Cheshire Cat. The Cheshire Cat in this matchup, I think, is probably, Cheshire Cat. Let's back up. Cheshire Cat in any matchup is obviously really, really good. But in this matchup specifically, I got just being able to move damage onto a lady or onto like a Lilo or something like that is so good. And just lets you do like a 2-for-1 trade, which is really helpful in the dog matchup. So, anyways, you see that Steven went ahead and played an Ursula there because he's kind of expecting that purple steel player to go down with that 1-2-3 into singing strength with the Cheshire Cats. Unfortunately for Steven, he didn't have the strength, but he did have the Thunderbolt. So we do see the Thunderbolt getting put in the discard, and Steven then inks that other Ursula because he's like, you have Genie and Elsa in your hands, so there's nothing else for Ursula to target, and he's going wide like every good dog player is going to do here. So going wide into another lady there. So just expanding that board to try to get that tramp down next turn. So then Reed, he picks up a Yzma, which he's going to ink there. Card's not going to be his issue here. Plays the Genie, draws into another Genie. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do here, whether he's going to start questing his characters. So he's going to go and quest Jafar and Captain Hook, and he's not going to quest Cheshire Cat because he knows how important that card is in this matchup. And if he quests with it, there's a chance... like with that lady, but particularly that one you just played, that it gets boosted up to, maybe 4 attack next turn and is actually able to take out the Cheshire Cat, which, saying all that to say, he does quest with it anyway. I guess he decided to quest with it. I guess Judge just came in with making sure he gets his ink here, but he does quest with it. Which, like if the dogs player wants to trade out multiple characters for a Cheshire Cat, you obviously don't want to lose your Cheshire Cat, but that doesn't feel terrible if they trade out characters for that. So, he's up to 5 here. So, he's curved out really well. He has the Elsa next turn to exert something if needed. So let's see what Steven does next turn in response to this. He has some targets to hit now. Like he can definitely go into that Captain Hook if he wants to, which obviously the Genie could clean up the go Tamago the following turn. Interesting spot here. And unlike the finals, which we casted on the channel, this is timed. So you can see a timer on the top of the screen. So, the players can't spend too much time thinking about their moves here, or else they'll run out of time, which is never fun in a Lorcana matchup. So Steven's doing a little mental math here, making sure, thinking about how he could trade or the way he's going to quest here. I would assume if he had the tramp, like that would have just like came down, but I'm also not a dogs player, so I don't know that for a fact. Okay, so he takes his Ursula. Okay, he does have that Chromicon in his hands, which is going to make things weird here if he plays it. Okay. So he's going to sink, which is going to reduce the strength of Jafar, which is going to allow Gogo Tamago to take out Jafar and still live with only 1 damage, which, pretty good. So it's Delos Moon Lullaby there. So opposing character gets -2 and you draw a card. So good value there on that to draw a card and get the sync it with the Ursula, which is also pretty nice. And so now, he gets, well, it looks like, yeah, he played his Chromicon, and then passes it over to Reed. I was going to say, what is he going to play on the follow-up there? But the Chromicon does come down for him, which again, just like makes all this so weird now for the Purple Steel player. I mean, he is up on lore, but he can't just ignore the board that Steven has. But of course, everything that he takes out will then be, Steven will be able to bounce a card back to his hand. So we'll have to see if Reed's running. A lot of Purple Steel players teched in Benja for this specific tournament just to make sure that they have something to get rid of that Chromicon. I'm not sure if Reed's running it. We will probably find out at some point here. But yeah, it's like I said, all this becomes a lot more interesting now because like that Captain Hook into Ursula seems pretty good. Or even the Cheshire Cat into Ursula and then boost and move the damage over to Gogo and take it out. But like you can't, those moves are not valid right now. Because of that Chromicon. I mean, you can still do them, but like he's gonna be able to bounce back the Genie or even the Cheshire Cat. So again, like all these moves just become way more awkward than they did before. So it looks like he might be going for the Genie here just to draw another card. But yeah, this is once the Chromicon comes down, usually these games come to a not to a screeching halt or anything, but they definitely slow down because the decisions here become a lot more weird. And so you can see Reed is just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna start the race here. I'm up to 9. I'm almost halfway to winning this game. I have 2 Genies, which you're gonna struggle to deal with as the dogs player unless you sing Under the Sea, which currently he's sitting at 3, 5, 6 on his on the singer count on his side of the board. So can't sing Under the Sea just yet unless he shifted something. So Reed's feeling pretty comfortable, but Under the Sea coming down would be quite catastrophic for the game, which is why you kind of saw him just go after it here and just kind of go, hey, like let's start the race because he's able to quest for at least 4 with the Genies every turn. Yeah, at least 4 with the Genies, and of course with the Cheshire and Captain Hook, he's able to go 6 every turn. So he's on a 2-turn timer here if Steven doesn't take anything out. And those Genies, like he really can't take them out other than like the Under the Sea putting them back under his deck. So yeah, pretty interesting game here from both players, especially once that Chromicon came down. Like I think Reed's game plan was just like to control that board. But now that Chromicon comes down, it's like, well, now it's time to race. So let's see how Steven kind of reacts to this on his side. Okay, he is going to shift the lady, and it looks like he's going to sing Under the Sea. Yeah. Ooh, don't get rid of the Cheshire. There we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's obviously the best play that Steven had, and that's what he needed to do to kind of reset this game in his favor here is get that Cheshire Cat down. Or I'm sorry, shift the lady into the Under the Sea, which allows him to basically clear off those 2 Genies. And the 2 Genies were what was going to cost, was going to make him lose this game if he didn't get rid of them, because those 2 questers was just going to continue to do more and more and more value for Reed whenever they quested. And so now, yeah, I mean now I'm not exactly sure how Reed's going to be able to get back into this game unless he has that Benja or something like that to get rid of that item. It's in a really weird spot. He just draws in the Olaf. Yeah, so he's sitting on Lexington, Olaf, and Elsa, and he has 5 ink. So like he could ink the Lexington, play the Olaf and the Elsa. But again, at that point, it's like, what are you gonna hit? Like, what are you taking out? Like, what's the game plan there? Things just become very, very weird still. All right, so Cheshire Cat is going to take out the Ursula, and the Chromicon isn't going to bounce back to Cheshire, or is he still deciding? Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say that would be a bit weird to not to bounce that. So the Chromicon bounces back bounce back to Cheshire Cat, and so now let's see what he does on the follow up here as Reed. So he had to expect that Steven was gonna make him bounce that Cheshire Cat back to his hands. So does he play the Cheshire Cat back down? Maybe with the Olaf potentially. Can you imagine a world where he has like Madame Goat from turn past, or from sets past, that just be able to bounce it back and forth with the Chromicon? That'd be crazy. Anyways, plays down the Lexington. I like the Lexington play because that lady is just like sitting there with that 4/4 body, and it's just like, what are you gonna do with it? As the purple still player, so the Lexington can definitely take care of that lady, which is gonna stop Steven from just questing up a bunch, right? So now back to Steven's turn here. I think he's sitting on one card. So I mean, that is the only problem with him shifting that lady, is that he didn't have anything to discard. So like he wasn't able to like take advantage of lady's ability to like pull 2 cards back. I mean, obviously he definitely needed to stop the lure gain from Reed, but he wasn't able to get value out of that. So now he's just sitting on. Okay, no, he has 2 cards. He has 2 cards in his hand. So that's a bit better, obviously. Let's see what he does here. We still haven't seen Tramp. Tramp could come down this turn still. Okay, so he's gonna go Lady and Lilo. So yeah, and he's just gonna pass. So he's not gonna quest with anything, because obviously there's good value trades. Okay, and there's a Demona for Reed. I'm not sure who the Demona helps more, whether it helps out Steven or Reed more. Because I mean, Steven's on 1 card left in his hands, and obviously Reed could like ink that Elsa and play the Demona, and he'd be able to draw 3 cards. But you definitely don't want to refill the hands of the Dogs player. That never feels good. So yeah, Demona is like a blessing and a curse, right? Because you're able to get some cards back that you're able to draw some more cards to help you stay in the game. But okay, let's see what he does here. Okay, so he's gonna go Elsa, it looks like. Does go Elsa. And what is he gonna decide to exert here? I don't hate exerting the lady. And trading out the Lexington. However, you could exert like Lilo and just like hit it with the Elsa and see what he bounces back. But the lady obviously is a big singer. Not that Under the Sea is going to get him any value at this point. Okay, so he is going to exert Go-Go. Quest with Lexington. And then probably just go ahead and smack Go-Go Tamago with Elsa. Yeah. Does that. Takes it out. And let's see what the Chromicon bounces back this turn now. That's why I quested the Lexington first. Like, if he bounces that, like, who cares? I feel like I just missed something happening here. Um, not sure. Not sure exactly what just happened. To take out the lady. Oh, I'm sorry. He Chromicon his own lady. Okay, I am back. I am back. Okay, Chromicon his own lady, so he could bounce it back to his hand. Shifted it again. Um, was able to grab the that lady back to his hand, and then like get 2 more cards out of his discard. So he grabbed Ursula and Gogo Tamago back out. So yeah, really good value there for Steven to get that back to his hands. Now for Reed next turn, like that Demona looks a lot better because Steven has a good amount of cards in his hands. Still has 3, so like that Demona is not going to give him any value. Okay, there's a Hades. So interesting. So the Hades, I think it's just ink, right? And you just play the Demona. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so he's going to play his Demona now. It's going to draw him 3 cards. So draws in the Palace Guard, Dumbo, and Black Karen. So Palace Guard can definitely come down this turn. And then we'll see what he does with the Lexington and Elsa here. It's obviously tough because like that lady's sitting there with 3 damage, so it's 1 off from being banished. So do you just go ahead and like take it out, or do you continue to quest here because there's still nothing on Steven's board that is evasive that could hit the Elsa? He does know that he grabbed Gogo Tamago back out of his discard though, so like he could play Gogo Tamago and activate his ability to gain 2 lore off of that Elsa. So yeah, he is just going to quest out and just continue this race, which I don't hate. I mean, Steven's only at 3. And now next turn, unless Steven takes something out, like Reed is threatening. So 15 from the Demona, 16 from Lexington, 17, 18 from the Palace Guard and Elsa. So he is threatening to be 2 away from winning the game here. So definitely don't hate that play, the race there. So we'll see what Steven can do here to kind of right the ship. Obviously can't take out the Elsa with anything that he has. I mean, another Under the Sea could get rid of Elsa and Palace Guard. I would imagine that. We see like Lexington get taken out, but maybe not. So he plays Ursula, and we know that Reed is not sitting on any songs, so Ursula doesn't get any value. And then we finally see the Tramp. He's gonna get to draw a lot of cards, and obviously he's going to discard a lot of them, but he's going to be able to filter out exactly what he wants here, which honestly I'm not even sure what that would even be. Like I said, the Under the Sea would be okay to get rid of the Elsa and Palace Guard, but yeah, he did draw it, so he did draw the Under the Sea. So let's see if that's what he ends up keeping here. It's definitely a tough call for him because like if he gets rid of Under the Sea, I would imagine he's only running 2. So if he gets rid of that Under the Sea, that might be his only one, only one left. So then at that point, Reed doesn't have to worry about that coming out again. He does have the Singers on board to play the Under the Sea if he wants to. In which case, he'd be able to play that and get rid of the Elsa and Palace Guard. So let's see what he ends up doing here. Okay, discarding 3 Go-Go's, Under the Sea, and something else. Now he can trade out the lady with the Lexington, and now he can just quest out with Lilo. Lilo, a lady there, and go up to 5. We're not sure exactly what card he took. I'm sure we're going to find out in just a second. So now he passes this back over to Reed. Reed has multiple Dumbos. So I imagine we'll probably see one of them here. And yeah, Steven is threatening 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so he's threatening like 15 lore next turn, Steven is. So like he is also very close to being able to finish up this game as well. But yeah, I mean, at this point, Reed just says, hey, like I'm just going to go after it. I'm just going to go try to win this game. And if you can clear my board next turn, you got it. But if not, we're just going to have to go to game 2 here. So yeah, just looked at his Discord. What's tough for him is like the quest-wise here, like I said, he's 9, 10, 12, 14, 15. Like which he wouldn't have enough ink, but like some Tamago action could have helped him out maybe. But yeah, I think Reed's done a really good job of like putting the pressure on Steven to have to like take some initiative here to win this game. Yeah, so he just scoops. He just scoops, and we're gonna go to game 2 here. Between Reed and Steven. You can see we're just jumping right in. And we jump right in and see an enchanted lady right off the bat. And you love that out of Steven. Like you love the enchanted lady. And then Reed, of course, follows up with his Captain Hook on the draw, which Captain Hook's good all the time, but Captain Hook's really good on the draw. So it's going to be able to swing into that lady and not take any damage and take it out, which is great. So Steven follows that up with a Lilo. And then, let's see. So Reed's got a lot of stuff in his hand. He could go double Captain Hook this turn if he wanted to. But, yeah, okay, that's exactly what he's going to do. And he can quest with Captain Hook and go to 1. So, like, he's got a whole army of hooks, which is pretty scary. And, of course, for Steven, he's like, man, it would be pretty good if you had a pretty good with an Under the Sea here. So he does play his Ursula this turn. Again, just kind of expecting there to be some sort of value to get from that Ursula, and I don't think he found any. Yeah, he did not find any. So Reed is holding all characters in his hands, so no value from the Ursula there, unfortunately for Steven. Which always feels bad as a green player overall, is if you play that Ursula and you find nothing, it's like, well, Ursula's a pretty bad character overall, other than the fact that it gets rid of a song from your opponent. So yeah, passes back over to Reed. Reed's turn 3 is obviously going to play down that Cheshire Cat, and then he's going to quest for 3 and go up to 4. He's just going to start putting that, start putting that lore pressure back on his opponent again, which is something that he's done. He did a great job of last game, and is going to continue to do here. So now Steven's got to decide, hey, like, how do I take care of this? Do I swing my Ursula and Lilo into one of those Captain Hooks? Do I try to power up my lady here with characters? Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna see. Yeah, one of the Captain Hooks are gonna go down. Captain Hooks are very similar to the T-Pos, where it's like they can just sit there and quest the whole time, and if you don't do anything with them, like they're just gonna keep getting value, and just keep getting lore. And it's like those, you don't think about one lore being a lot, but like if that one lore just continues to add up every single term, like it becomes a lot, right? Like he's already at 4, which is great. So we see Cheshire Cat questing here for Reed. All right, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's going to boost it as well, and then take out the Lilo with the boost. Oh, I didn't see the Emerald Chromicon come down for Steven there. So the Emerald Chromicon comes down, which is going to make that Cheshire Cat bounce, which is probably why he went with the boost there, because he gets the card with the boost as well. It goes back to his hands along with the Cheshire Cat. And so now this board state for Reed looks a lot less scary, right? Like he has that one Captain Hook, but everything else is gone. Steven obviously, just had the lady. He decides to play his Lilo from the discard. Let's see what he decides to do now with this, with the lady. Is he going to go ahead and take out that Captain Hook? Because you would expect the other Captain Hook to go ahead and take out that Lilo next turn, right? Like that Lilo, you wouldn't expect to stay on the board for Steven after this turn. Yeah, definitely a tough turn for Steven here. And the Chromicon does loom, but Reed's already got some lore advantage here. So like if the race starts, like I don't think that's too big of a deal. We go into a Daisy Duck here for Steven, which Daisy Duck's always good, right? Let's see if Lady is going to take out that other Captain Hook, and he's going to pass it back to Reed here. Reed draws into a Yzma, and you can see that he does have He does have Thunderbolt in his hand as well, so he could snipe that Daisy Duck this turn if he wanted to. Wow, and then he passes on the Chromicon there, so he's not going to bounce that card back. What we're going to see, let's see, what are we going to develop here from Reed? I think there's a Giant Cobra, or Cheshire Cat, Giant Cobra, Yzma, there's a Dock in his hands. So Giant Cobra gets inked here. And let's see what he decides to do. Maybe go for Cheshire Cat and just play the Dock. Or just go straight. Okay, he's going to go straight into the Elsa and swing it into Lilo. And we're going to bounce that Elsa back to his hands and pass it back over to Steven there. So, does do a little bit of cleanup there with the Lilo, taking out of play, but board state stays kind of where it is. And the Daisy Duck got powered up by that Tramp to take out the Captain Hook. And so now we're back. With Steven with a massive board control lead here with the Daisy and the two puppies. And Reed is sitting with an empty board now. And look at them throwing up the Enchanted Tramp on the screen whenever that wasn't the Enchanted Tramp. Enchanted Tramp is pretty sick, though. Pretty cool card. So let's see what Reed decides to do here. He's going to go for another Elsa. Swing it into the Tramp. And I think just pass afterwards, right? So the Chromicon doesn't get to be used this turn because, there wasn't anything banished. So the Elsa now just gets to sit there, and at least he has something developed on his board, which is nice. So Steven obviously could develop the big Tramp this turn if he has it in his hands. But, like the dog players generally are, they generally do not have many cards in their hands. So it's just what they have. So the lady goes into another Tramp, and then we're just going to start questing here now. So Steven's going to quest up for, I think, 5 here? 1, 2, or no, just 2. Or no, 5. That's right. Okay, yeah. So he's up to 5 now. So now we're equal on lore, and obviously Steven just went wide with his board here. We know that there is a spell in Reed's hands. He has the Thunderbolt, but we're going to see that Elsa go down, take out the lady, and bounce back the Elsa to his hand. So, a bit of board clear there. But thankfully, he's worked up enough ink to be able to get the Black Karen down after playing the Elsa. So he is going to have a board state here, which is nice. And Steven, I think is top decking at this point with only 3 ink. So and what's unfortunate for Steven is he knows that the Elsa is in Reed's hand. So next turn, he can't just sit back here. And if he doesn't quest, Reed can take out a card from his side of the board. All right, let's see what he develops here. Okay, we're still pre-turn there. So Lilo gets tossed down from the discard. We're gonna see Daisy Duck quest and then a pull here, which is a Hades. So yeah, it's what the Lilo with the Chromicon starts feeling really bad for the opposing player because you can just keep getting played every turn, and you as the opposing player you want to take it out, but if you take it out, your character's gone. So it definitely feels bad. So yeah, Steven's just slowly amassing a larger lead in this game here. Just his characters that continue to be able to be played out, and there's not much Reed can do about it, right? Reed's sitting on a ton of cards in his hands, but can't play most of them out. He can definitely play a Thunderbolt here to get rid of something. Okay, so he's going to bounce that back to his hands. Interesting. Okay. So he plays Hades. He's gonna get to draw 2 more cards. Yeah, he's got all kinds of cards in his hand now. So gonna play a Cobra. Probably activate it, I would guess. Probably get rid of the Dock, I would imagine. Yeah, there we go. Get rid of the Dock. Go up to 7, and pass it back over to Steven. So obviously Reed did a good job there developing a board. but we know that Steven has multiple cards to play this turn. So that lady will probably get the quest for more than just the one this turn. If we had to guess, that's gonna be what Steven's gonna be able to develop this turn. But we'll see what happens here because yeah, he's at 10, so he's definitely gonna want to get closer on pressuring the lore to win this game because Reed's got up to 8 ink, so like he's gonna be able to like almost play 2 Elsas a turn. Like he's 2 turns away from being able to play Elsa twice in one turn, which for Steven would be pretty tough to deal with. Also with all the other cards that he's developed on his board here. So I think this is a big swing turn here for Steven to see what he can do. And what's great for Reed is that he's developed 3 characters that can't be under the sea. Not that Steven has the characters under the sea here. Okay, so Lady's shift here is going to be big. I think that's what he has in his hands. I think that's what it's going to be. There we go. Yeah. So he decides to shift the Lady. He's going to be able to pull Lady and a Daisy Duck out of his discard. I think that's what he's going to pull out. He's probably thinking of, yeah. There we go. So he's able to pull those 2 out of his discard. And then inks a Lilo and is able to develop another Lady there. One from his discard. So he can quest with Lilo to go to 12. Yeah, so I'd imagine next turn that Thunderbolt's probably going to get used. So let's see if Lady ends up. I think this is a big decision here for Steven, whether he quests with this Lady or if he swings into Black Heron. We know that Reed's holding onto a Cheshire Cat. So if he attacks that Lady into that Black Heron, like Hades or something, can take out the Lilo. Which I guess at that point, Lady, wow, I don't know. It becomes tough now with that Chromicon because if he takes out the Black Heron and then Reed tries to do like Hades and the Lilo Cheshire Cat boost, that becomes weird because I would imagine Steven at that point would probably bounce that Lady back to his hand so he can continue to pull more characters out of his discard. So yeah, I think this is a big decision here for Steven to decide what he's going to do here on this turn because if he just quests with Lady, then like Giant Cobra definitely just swings into it, or we put a Thunderbolt into it next turn. Okay, so he's going to quest with it, go to 14. So he's gonna choose to apply the lore pressure, which I don't hate. When you're this close to winning, like putting more pressure on your opponent. But we see that Reed draws into a Strength of Raging Fire. So he's gonna start off by singing Thunderbolt onto the Lady. Take that out, and let's see what Chromicon ends up doing here. Probably Black Heron, if I had to guess. Yeah, so Black Heron's going to go back to Reed's hand, which now he can take out the... Oh, so he's gonna wow! It's okay. He can sing. He's gonna sing Strength with the Giant Cobra onto the Lady, and now he still has enough ink to be able to play Elsa to take out the Lilo here. So this is gonna end up being a full board clear for Reed. Okay, well he's not gonna be able to because Steven bounced that back to his hand. So now he's gonna be able to develop some characters here. So he can develop Cheshire Cat and Dumbo. And so yeah, that's a huge turn for Reed there. He's able to completely wipe Steven's board out, even though Steven kind of helped him out with the Chromicon. And he's developed quite a board here that can quest for 5 each turn. So that's going to put him on a 3-turn timer to win. But also the Dumbo with Dumbo's ability is going to be able to allow him to draw a few more cards to like dig for some things that he might need there. But it's because he used both of his songs that turn. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what Steven does this turn. I think Reed's still sitting on an Elsa, so whatever he plays is going to be able to be exerted and banished next turn from Reed. And he's still just sitting at 4 lore, right? Or 4 ink, excuse me. So yeah, he can't do too much. But yeah, it was a great battle back by Reed in this game. Like I thought Steven kind of had him on the tempo there. Which, I mean, the game's definitely not over by any stretch of imagination. Like we see a Go-Go Tamago in Steven's hand. We also see another Chromicon. So if he develops another Chromicon and gets another character down, like he's gonna be able to bounce 2 characters for Reed back, which is definitely gonna slow the lore progression from Reed. Which is what he needs here. Like he needs to prolong this game, get some quests down, and be able to come back into it. That also is going to be a real problem for him though next turn. So yeah, Steven could definitely develop that Lilo back and play the Chromicon. Yeah, it looks like he's going to develop a Lilo and Daisy Duck. So for him, like he knows that Elsa's still in Reed's hands, so like that's going to guarantee him to be able to quest for at least 2. And he goes ahead and plays the Tamago. So that Tamago is great because the Chromicon is going to allow him to bounce it back. So let's see what Reed ends up doing here. So he's going to start off by drawing a card. All good players say draw a card first. Oh, and he draws into a Thunderbolt. That ends up being, that's a really, really big draw. So we're going to see a quest with Cheshire Cat, Cobra, and Black Heron. He's going to sing Thunderbolt onto the Daisy Duck. And let's see what Chromicon decides to do here. If Chromicon decides to bounce Tamago or Lilo, Steven has to know that Elsa's coming down right after this, right? So whatever card he does not, if he chooses to bounce one of those cards from his side, okay, so he decides to bounce back the Dumbo, which is, is going to stop card draw for Reed, which is how he drew into that Thunderbolt. But yeah, I would imagine that we're going to see an Elsa being developed here for Reed, and then he's going to go ahead and take out the Tamago, I think. Yeah, takes out the Tamago, which, like obviously like lore-wise, it makes more sense to take out the Lilo, but being able to not let that Go-Go Tamago go back to Steven's hand to like allow him to bounce that and activate it multiple times ends up being a really big value point for Reed, and he's able to play that Cheshire Cat back. And what's tough for Steven is that Elsa is sitting there with the 2 damage and the Cheshire Cat is developed. So, okay, so he goes in and inks his Dumbo and plays down the Captain Hook just to develop the full board here. All right, so now Steven's sitting on 4 ink still. Or no, 1, 2. No, he's got 5 now. So sitting on 5 ink. Has his Lilo to get to 16 if he wants to quest with it this turn. Still has his Chromicon out as well. We haven't seen like the Benja or anything tech like that from Reed. He hasn't really needed it. So Steven's going to quest with the Lilo. And he reads his... Oh, and double Chromicon comes down, and we have a Webby. Okay, so things are going to start getting weird here. Oh, he draws into another Elsa. Wow, that becomes crazy. So, yeah, he's going to quest out with everything. He can pay to... Yeah, so he's going to pay to boost. Or he's going to run... Yeah, he's going to run that into Lilo. And then he's going to see what he does with these 2 Chromicons now. I'm not sure what Steven can do here to like stay in this game at this point, because if he bounces back to Elsa, like he knows like the Elsa is just gonna get replayed and taken out the Webby, and Reed obviously has lethal on board next turn. If he bounces back to Cheshire Cat, like Reed has enough ink to play Cheshire Cat again and boost it, so like the Elsa would be able to take that out as well. So like, yeah, so he ends up bouncing back Cheshire Cat and Hades. So we're going to see the Cheshire Cat developed again. We're going to see 2 to boost it, to move the 1 damage onto the Webby. Yeah, make sure you put the card in there. Perfect. And then we'll probably see 1, 2, 3. We'll probably maybe see like, okay, yeah, I was going to say, doesn't matter what he develops there. So yeah, that was a great game. Great game from Reed there. Like really piloting Purple Steel well, and like really showing that like even if that Dogs player gets down Chromicon, Like that's not the end of the world for you as a purple steel player. Like you don't really have to have like the Benja in there to be able to win the game still. So a great game for both players. Reed obviously is going to move on to the round of 8, and Steven's going to exit the tournament to round of 16, which is still a really great showing. So yeah, this was the round of 16 from DLC Richmond. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll have more videos posted really soon. See you next time.